It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Morehead State head softball coach, Samatha Jones. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to start coaching in college softball?
Sure. Yeah. So that started back when I was playing college at Kentucky. I just had a joy of the competitiveness. I enjoyed the camaraderie that it built. And so right after I graduated, I was able to get a job at Asbury University and kind of just stuck with it ever since. So ever since 2012, I've just been in the game coaching, loving it. Definitely growing as a person, but hopefully helping make an impact with a bunch of people too.
What was it like playing college softball for Kentucky and playing in the SEC?
Yeah, it was a great experience. It was definitely competitive, probably one of the best conferences, obviously out there. And obviously I'm very biased, but I enjoyed my experience at Kentucky, not only as a student, but of course, as an athlete. I learned a lot from Coach Lawson and Coach Himes. And I continue to talk to them, weekly or monthly. They're definitely my mentors. So that experience as a whole definitely developed me as a person, as a student, as an athlete, as a woman, prepared me for a lot of things. So I was very, very thankful for that opportunity.
What was it like coming out of college, getting your first coaching job?
Nerve-wracking, right? Oh my gosh, it was so nerve-wracking. I'm 21 years old coming out of college, and they're asking me to lead a program, a bunch of 18 to 21-year-olds. So there's a lot of girls that are even the same age as me. So, you had to create these boundaries or these borderlines to make sure that you had a good coach and athlete relationship. But it was challenging at first, especially with it being going from Division I to a small school of an NAIA. But I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I grew a lot as a coach there. Definitely developed some great relationships with the players that I had that I still talk to even today. But it was definitely nerve-wracking. It's kind of like being thrown into the fire a little bit. But it was a good experience.
Of course, as you talked about going from Division I to NAIA, what was that like as a coach, as a first-time coach?
Yeah, so it's hard when you play. Anywhere you play. For me, it was really hard to turn off that mentality, right? The mentality of, we joke about all the time with my old roommates of we weren't allowed to stop our workouts. Like if we had to use the restroom, like you had to keep going. And continue to push through. And so when you have that mentality, you try to translate that over. And I think that's where I screwed up a lot, right? I was translating my Division I mentality over into an NAIA school. It wasn't that they couldn't handle it, but there wasn't as many resources. Financially, it was just a little bit different. And so culture-wise, it was just different. So there's a lot of trying to rebuild and kind of make a new name for us when it came to the NAIA school.
What was it like getting the job at Miami, Ohio as the assistant coach?
It was a pretty cool experience. He was my fiance back then, but my now husband, he first got a job at Miami University, and while I was still coaching at Asbury, and within the next 2 days, that job posted online, and I applied for it. And thankfully, I was able to get that position, and I had a great experience with Coach Crowell. So I appreciate everything that she taught me. But again, it's just completely different when you go from Asbury to Miami University, and then obviously now I'm at Morehead State. They all have their specialties. They all have something that they're really known for. In Miami, it was in a beautiful setting of Oxford, Ohio. So I definitely enjoyed that. I was able to get my master's degree there while I was coaching. I gave birth to my first child up in Miami. So there's a lot of beautiful experiences that happened at Miami for us as a family and as a coach.
What were some of your coach's accomplishments at Miami?
Oh gosh, I know. I think we came into second or third place when it came to the conference. GPA, I think it was probably one of the highest GPAs that we've had academically for a full semester. Actually not full semester, full year, where they accumulated like a 3.4, 3.5, and that was probably one of the highest when it came to the athletic department. The girls did a great job of producing runs, so a lot of RBIs, not only from individual athletes, but obviously just scoring runs. So we put a lot of runs on the board. Defensively, they didn't make very many errors, so we had a high fielding percentage. I think it was like a 0.986 was their fielding percentage. So a lot of great accomplishments on the field, a lot of great things that they did off the field. As far as like fundraising, building community, building our alumni base. So a lot of great things that you can continue to roll over every single year.
What was it like going from Miami to Morehead State?
Good. Again, it's just in a cultural difference, right? It's in two different environments. But I've been enjoying my experience at Morehead State so far, and I'm very thankful for the people that have poured into me, continue to develop me on a daily basis there at Morehead State. But again, when you're an assistant coach at Miami, and then obviously you have a head coach job at Morehead State, there's a lot of things of just refurbishing, of making something my own, right? So I took a lot of great things that I learned from Asbury, a lot of great things I learned from Miami, and now trying to build my own culture and program at Morehead State. And very thankful that I've had the support to be able to do that consistently.
Of course, what has it been like, obviously, as you've been head coach at Berry and now you're head coach at Morehead? So obviously head coaching is not so new to you. What is that like for you?
Yeah, every year is different, right? Because you get different athletes. Different things come up, like golly, like last year, or not even last year, 2020, when we were dealing with COVID. Like I've never dealt with that. Like that's completely brand new. And so trying to come up with game plans and pods and practices and a lot of different management, thankfully, like one of my strengths is organization and just managing. So it was a great time, a big learning experience again. But every year is going to be different, especially with the new athletes coming in. How well are they going to mesh with their teammates? What are some challenges that may be presented in front of us that we've got to overcome together? But yeah, every place, like I said, is going to be different, but they all have some different challenges that we've got to face as a team and as a staff. So it's been good though.
What are some of your accomplishments you've achieved so far at Morehead?
Yeah, so for us, like we've been really honing in on building culture, right? We've started from scratch back in 2018 when I first got there. And so just building up culture, building up our strengthening, right? I think our athletes have gotten so much stronger in the weight room. We're continuously recruiting athletes who not only have the strength, but have the speed, have the athletic abilities. This past fall semester, they had the highest GPA in program history, which was like a 3.56. So that's something amazing that they're doing in the classroom. We're also, one of our pitchers, she had the second most innings in our conference, second most strikeout looks in conference just last year. So a lot of great things are happening and transitioning for this program. So I'm super excited to see what the spring 2022 season looks like.
Who are some of the teams that you face in your conference?
Yeah, so our conference is very competitive. We face Southeast Missouri, SIUE, Belmont, Murray State, Austin P, Tennessee Tech, Tennessee State. So yeah, we have a really good conference, and actually in the next year or a couple of years, we'll be adding some more teams in our conference. Don't really know who there are yet, but our conference will be expanding pretty soon.
Was it like obviously playing Belmont and Tennessee Tech?
They're very competitive. Every game that we have against them is always a nail biter. First, we love obviously going down to Tennessee area. It's just a beautiful, beautiful setting that they have, and their campus is amazing, as well as their stadium that they have. But they're very competitive, not only on the mound. They have a good lineup 1 through 9 when it comes to hitting, and defensively they're very sound. So the game's always a good one.
What is it like obviously playing at home and having that home field advantage of having your crowd?
Oh yeah, it not only the crowd, but it's just think about the playing surface, right? Like, so that's something that you practice on every single day. And that's an advantage right there. Like, the little hops, the little ditches here and there. And so not only is it the crowd, like the home base, like your student athlete friends, your student friends, family members coming in, significant others, things like that. But think about just the playing surface is going to be a huge advantage for any team that plays on their home field. So there's a lot of advantages that come with it. You have your own sound system with, your playlist, your walkout songs. Like a lot of things get very comfortable and very routine when it comes to playing at home.
What are some of your game day traditions that you have at home at Morehead?
Oh gosh. I mean, this team right here, if it's anything like last year's team, and I think it is, I think it's honestly a little bit more extrovert. Uh, and before we get right into hitting, we always meet. But they're always dancing, right? They just dance all the time, whether it's the TikToks, which I have no idea about because I'm not on TikTok, but it's their TikTok dances or, playing some, I don't even know what the game is called. They play this game where they have a bat and a ball and you have to keep the ball in the air, kind of like volleyball, but they've come up with so many different names as far as when you have to shoot the bat out or, they do like a banana, like all these crazy things. So this team loves playing games with each other and they love dancing. So anytime that there's music on, anytime there's a free like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, they're going to jump right in and do something. But yeah, so I would say that's pretty much the big routine other than the standard, field ground balls, throw a ball, hit a ball, what softball does. But the girls really enjoy their time hanging out when it comes to the dancing and the extra games.
What does the recruitment process look like for prospective student athletes looking to play college softball?
Yeah, so a lot of people always ask that question. It really just depends. What I always tell student athletes is you really got to start narrowing down your list as far as location, right? You got to figure out how far you want to go from home. That's what I did when I was being recruited, is I had a map and I kind of drew like a radius around how far I wanted to go from home. Now, for me, I'm originally from New York and I basically wanted to go Ohio and below and obviously all west. So my map was huge. But other individuals may only want to go maybe 4 or 5 hours away from home. And so they really have to find out some schools that may be in that vicinity and see if it's something that's not only affordable, has their major, has a softball program, maybe has a spot for the specific position that you're at. And then definitely start researching, getting on campus, going to camps, things like that. Now, a lot of athletes can't talk to us because until their September 1 of their junior year for the NCAA rules. So we had a lot of emails from like sophomores and freshmen. And so we kind of just put them in folders right now, but we're allowed to have communications right now with seniors and juniors per NCAA rules. So I definitely recommend for the younger group, start creating their list, right? Start creating that depth chart, kind of like what we do with our athletes, create their depth chart when it comes to the different colleges that they may want to experience and get on campus to. So
what does the official visit look like for prospective student athletes looking to go to Morehead?
Yeah, so usually a lot of times we like to bring the athlete on campus for about 48 hours. And we'll try to go to some sporting event. Like coming up, we have like a basketball game, men's basketball versus Belmont. So we're going to take some recruits to that basketball game. Obviously, we'll go to dinner, and that next day is filled with meetings, right? We're trying to get you to get as much information as possible. So, you have like your admissions tour, you're meeting with weights and conditioning, the training room, meeting with our academic advisor, compliance, deputy director, athletic director, like so many different people we want you to meet, director of diversity, just so you have an opportunity to understand the resources that we have available. But also if you or maybe a family member has a question that you have the ability to ask that and an individual who could potentially answer that. We usually do a team dinner, a team bonding. And then that pretty much kind of wraps it up for the visit. So it's a quick one, right? Like it's kind of short, 48 hours, but you get a lot of jam-packed stuff in that visit. We definitely recommend our recruits exploring campus whenever they have their free moments. Definitely see if they can see if it's a fit for them culturally and environmentally, just because, we live in the woods, we're an outdoorsy school. We have a lake right on campus. So if that's something that is a fit for you, like, who knows, maybe it could be a fit, but if not, then we completely understand because we can't change who we are, right? Like we know who we are. We got to be authentic to it and stay to our roots. So
What's it like, obviously, as head coach, seeing those recruits put on that softball jersey and put on that blue softball jersey?
yeah, it gets me real excited, right? We're just getting real excited for hopefully that commit because our staff has been working really hard for the past 3 to 4 years of trying to bring some student athletes in that will be game changers for this program. And every time that we have a visit and we have the opportunity to get them in a jersey, not only gives me butterflies, but I think it definitely gives the student athletes a great experience to potentially feel like home and to know what it feels like to wear this jersey. Granted, obviously game day is going to feel a lot different, but being able to put on a college jersey as a junior or senior in high school is probably something special to a lot of recruits. So I know I get butterflies. I usually see a lot of smiles. We take a lot of pictures. So it's a fun time.
What are some of the things that you plan to accomplish in the program?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things, not only on the field, but off the field. I would say on the field, like this program has never won a conference championship. So I want our program, our girls to be the first ever to win it. And I don't want us to stop there. I want to continue. I want to make a tradition, a dynasty out of it. Right. And so it starts day by day. And it starts at how we practice. How do we perform when we're in the weight room? How do we perform when we're in the classroom? And so it's a daily grind, but you got to continue to wake up and pursue that daily grind and that challenge, because a lot of people are looking for us to not succeed. And so it's very important that we stay together as a team, have that camaraderie to back each other up. And then in the classroom, we want to continuously to graduate. We want to graduate all of our athletes. We want them to have jobs within the first year after graduating, whether it's an internship or GA or practicum or an actual job. So we want to help them with that. We want to grow with our community. Community is huge. Like we have a lot of support within our community. We want to make sure that we're building relationships there. So getting out in the community, serving them, helping in any way, volunteering our time. And then obviously building our alumni base is huge. Like talking to alumni who have come through this program years past and continuously leaning on them for wisdom and advice, and having our girls lean on them and build this relationship, because it's something special when you can leave a program and know that no matter where you go, you still have a family behind you from the program that you came from. So obviously continuously building our alumni base is another big one.
What advice would you give college softball players looking to play college softball and then go on to playing professional with Athletes Unlimited or other professional leagues?
So first I would like any high school or prospective student athlete, like the advice that I would give them as they're going through the recruiting process going into college is to never give up if like maybe that one school or that second school, whatever it may be, maybe has said like, hey, we don't have a spot available. You got to keep trying, right? Like you got to continue to advertise yourself or market yourself. You have to put yourself out there. And a lot of times what we do is we kind of get down on ourselves, or we notice that someone doesn't want us in a team or whatever it may be. And that kind of stops our recruiting process. So we just have to keep pushing forward with that. Take breaks. Burnout is real. Your bodies need breaks. You don't need to play softball from June all the way till May. You can take some breaks, get your body to recover. We love multi-sport athletes. Play different sports, like have fun, like go do the things, go to the proms, go to the dances, go out with your friends, go to the movies. Like don't always think that having to do 3-a-day workouts or an extra practice is going to hurt you in the long run right now. A lot of you are great athletes, and so we want to make sure that you're giving your body recovery, and you're being an individual, you're being a person, you're being a student athlete. Go do other things. And then as far as like transitioning from college to professional, it's the same concept. Like if you want to go for it, like go and maybe they didn't get invited, like go for a tryout, right? Like what do you have to lose? Like all you gotta do is just make that effort, just take that step, that leap of faith. And continue to give your best effort, like be that great teammate, right? We all have great athletes, but what are the intangibles? What are we looking at? Like, how is our character? How are we leading? How are we communicating? And those things are really important when it comes to building camaraderie and building a leadership type of team. So I would definitely just get out of our shells a little bit more, communicate, lead, be determined, be the hardest worker, all those things, all the intangibles you can think of that have nothing to do with stats.
What advice would you give college softball coaches looking to get started in college softball and first-time head coaches?
Yeah, take it easy on yourself, right? There's going to be some challenges. Give yourself a lot of grace. Build yourself a support system, like a coaching tree, right? I'm very thankful for the coaches that I have on my tree that I'm able to talk to whenever I need them to, my mentors, right? Like start building your coaching tree. And again, like put yourself out there, like start marketing, like even if there's not a job listed on the website, whenever email the head coach that may be there, or email the athletic director and just ask, because you never know. And so I really recommend individuals just putting themselves out there and taking that leap of faith. But again, you got to give yourself some grace, especially if it's first time head coaches or just getting into the coaching world. It's not going to be easy. It's more than just hit and fungo and pitch and BP. Like there's a lot of like in-office work and management. It's basically running your company, right? It's just a small team, and you're the CEO of it. So give yourself some grace and definitely have a support system to help you along that path.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the Morehead State softball program?
Sure. So the main one that we use is Twitter. And the softball one is MSU Eagles SB. And then mine, I honestly think it's just Samatha Jones, or it's Coach Jones on there. But you can also see me. I retweet a lot on the program's Twitter, so they can definitely hit me there.
Thank you again, Samatha Jones, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the Morehead State softball program.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Samatha Jones, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you, Brandon.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.